Well, it's 2022. The oldest video on my channel is officially 10 years old. It's a TF2 commentary I made when I was 14. My mercenary badge has a start date of August 6th, 2010, and I have 2,500 hours on record. I still remember the first time I started the game. It was just after the Mac update had come out, and I basically pestered my mom to the point of waking her up in the middle of the night one weekend, and she finally caved and bought the game for me. I had been watching a bunch of TF2 YouTubers at the time, Star, Germa, Blacklight Attack, all of your classics. And something about the game just clicked with me, and more than just the game, the community. I had spent a bunch of time in Counter-Strike Source servers, particularly Smoke It Up, which was probably not age appropriate for me at the time, but all of the dudes were really cool there and cleaned up their act for me for the short time that I was there. But Counter-Strike Source was never exactly my cup of tea, so I quickly moved on from the game and found a home in TF2. I used to frequent Skyle, Colored Pylons, various jump servers, and I used to regular a couple of Versus Saxton Hail servers as well. I played TF2 almost exclusively for the next 2 years, and then eventually I switched to playing StarCraft, Dota, and a couple of other games, but it's safe to say that I always came back to TF2 whenever there was another major update, or I had been particularly interested in something one of my favorite YouTubers was making. TF2 is what got me into esports as a hobby in general, and eventually that led into discovering things like StarCraft and the professional Dota scene. And that eventually led to streaming and competing myself and truly immersing myself in esports and the esports community. I met my fiance through my stream. The vast majority of my friends are from various online gaming communities. I've never been as active a YouTuber or streamer as I've wanted to be, and there's a lot that goes into that, but it's safe to say that the summer that I spent streaming TF2 was one of my favorite times as a content creator. I found an unbelievable amount of friends and enjoyment out of TF2 and esports as a whole, and it's so disappointing to me that the game has been left in this sort of abandoned state. I'm not one who's unused to that, because I play Melee and Nintendo actively wants Melee to die. So it's not the end of the world to me, but it is upsetting to see something that I care so much about left in this state for seemingly no reason. I'm honestly not sure if it's reasonable to ask for a patch anymore, because I don't think that there's that many people, if anybody, working on TF2. The same thing happened with StarCraft not too long ago, and all we really wanted in that community was an update of maps. I think that what's reasonable for the Team Fortress community is probably a fix to the bot situation, and at least some light ongoing support for that. But what I'd also love to see is some sort of system in place to push community servers to the forefront, because I think that quick play matchmaking will always be a inferior mode of play. In the modern era with so many matchmakers, you almost never see the same person for more than 20 minutes at a time, and it's led to this sort of degradation of the online community as a whole. And the operative word there is community, because it stops feeling like that after a certain point when you soullessly matchmake into 10 games a night and it's different people every single game. It's really easy for everyone to tilt, and there isn't time to really make friends unless you really go out of your way for it. To me, community servers are just really the soul of early 2010s gaming that sort of kept alive in TF2, and it was such a wonderful experience to discover the Uncle Dane servers and spend some time in there and get the exact same feeling that I got when I was just a teenager. I even got my fiance into TF2, which is something I never thought would happen, because she is firmly against playing first-person shooters. She doesn't particularly like them, but even she has been having an absolute blast playing in Uncle Dane servers and just chit-chatting with all the regulars and the people who've been playing this game for over a decade at this point. One of the beautiful things about community servers is that they sort of self-police. I have played nearly every esport known to man at this point, and I have yet to find one that is not toxic as fuck. But TF2 manages to avoid the toxicity specifically because of the fact that they're regulars. If you get a reputation as being a huge piece of shit, nobody wants you in their server, and nobody's going to entertain you, and there aren't just a bunch of randoms to continue trolling and being a dick to. So TF2 has always been one of the most wholesome communities in the online gaming sphere. Aside from the changes to the community server browser and quick play, what I'd also love to see is a change to the in-game economy if there's no longer going to be any support for TF2. I think that the economy only functions so long as there is ongoing support, and right now it's in a really, really garbage state. I think it's really funny though that I get to tell people how old I am as a TF2 player by saying that when I started, keys only cost 2 refined metal. It always blows people away. And similarly, it blows me away when I see some of the prices of items these days. But what I would love to see is re-adding every crate into the drop system, and then adding a universal, say, Strange of Fire, universal killstreak kit, and maybe some extra exclusive rewards for things like Command vs. Machine mode. I don't actually have a problem with promo items staying promo items or there being exclusive rewards for Man vs. Machine. I just think it's really dumb that things as simple as healing done for your metagun costs like $11 because there just aren't any in circulation. And I think that at this point, if there's no plans to continue adding items or continue refreshing the crate pool, then we may as well just put all the crates in the pool, and eventually the economy will settle itself down. Not to mention that it's really fucking dumb that the strange Luger morph doesn't exist. People want to spend money on this stuff, but without a refresh to the active crate pool, or having every single weapon have a strange killstreak variant, they have nowhere to spend their money, so they just don't. At the end of the day, I think that the TF2 community is mostly just looking for closure, and I understand that. We just want to know if the game is still being actively developed or if they're done with it, and we'll modify our expectations to match that. The last that we had heard, the Pyro update, was the second to last update, with the heavy update coming afterwards because he lost the community vote. It doesn't really matter if we receive an answer or not, I think, because if they don't answer, it kind of gives us an answer either way. But what I know is that the TF2 community won't die anytime soon. There's too many people too passionate about the game. We're all fucking boomers who have been playing this long anyway, and realistically, nothing really provides the same sort of community, the same sort of game feel, the same sort of casual competitive experience that TF2 does. StarCraft Brood War and Super Smash Bros. Melee have both proven that games like these have zero chance of ever officially dying, whether it comes to modding in support for online play, or running their own tournament series, or even just having their own local meetups and their own self-sufficient community and ecosystem. I think that Valve has every incentive to work with the community and continue treating TF2 as a service game going forward. And it would be a damn shame and a huge loss for them as developers and as a company if they don't choose to continue supporting the game. The TF2 community has a lot of love and passion for the game, and I don't see anything changing long term so far as things go in-game. But whether or not Valve wants to be involved in the long term, well, that's up to them. I have been Walnut. I appreciate your time. Save TF2.